All right, we're live here. All right. I'm probably too close to this mic. Let me move this mic over. I'm sure I can really pick up. All right. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua Barakatham, to all the Akim out there, and Yahweh Shamar Alathan, Bahashim Yahushua, to all the Akwakim. This is the Sabbath Service. We're in November 9th, 2024. All right, and we are going to pick up where we left off last time. You know, I always like to start off with a pop quiz, you know, because I know everybody goes home and studies, and I mean, the Sabbath is just filled with scholars today. So let's start out with a pop quiz. So let's see here. We are in the story Jacob and Esau. They have pretty much ran into each other once again. I don't know if I want to say they were reunited, but they're back. They talk to each other, and Jacob, Jacob before he met Esau was highly afraid. And then what happened that night before he met Esau? Somebody tell me. The night before he met Esau, what happened? Let's do go ahead, Colin. Right, he wrestled with an angel, and, you know, what happened during the wrestling match? Okay, so it must have been a long match, because he wouldn't let the angel go. And so the angel was like, let me go, because the day is breaking. I mean, they started at night and went all the way to the morning. I don't know if people, listen, I used to wrestle, and I've done jiu-jitsu, and after 30 seconds, if you're not in shape, it's very tiring. 30 seconds feels like 30 minutes. So, I mean, Jacob must have to been in pretty good shape to be wrestling a man all night. I probably would have tapped after the first 30 seconds, but Jacob really was serious about that blessing. So he changed his name to what? Jacob's name was changed to? Anybody? It was changed to Israel, okay? So, and does anybody tell me what Israel means? I know y'all love these pop quizzes. All right, well, Israel pretty much means prince of the power. You know, prince of the power, you know, the prince of power. Remember, Hebrew names are actually condensed sentences. So pretty much it's the prince of the power and with man and prevailed, pretty much. It's like a long sentence. It says it's pretty much a long sentence. But so Israel then goes and meets his brother Esau. Esau seems to be treating him with kindness. He didn't want to kill him like he said. But Jacob does something. Esau said, let's go, my brother, let's go. And what does Jacob do? Does anybody remember? Anybody remember? All right, well, Jacob refuses to go with his brother. I think Jacob still knew what type of spirit his brother was, because you got to remember, if the blessing and the birthright went to Jacob, Esau's sons would have had to know about that story too. And I believe this might have been the start of the quarrel. I mean, it started in the womb, but I'm saying is that between both seeds, because Esau's seeds would have had to know that story, okay? Because they would have known that their father, Esau or Edom, was the oldest, and they were like, well, what's our blessings for our descendants? So they would have known that that story about the blessing, and you got to think they would have known their grandfather Isaac, because Isaac, we will see, is not dead yet. So visiting their grandfather Isaac, he would have told them the story too. You know, Isaac, would have just told them the facts. So these are the things that the Esau's descendants would have known. All right, let's go ahead and pick it up today. We're in Genesis 33. We're going to be reading 19 and 20, and then we're going to jump over to Genesis 34. Genesis 33, verse 19 in the Hebrew. We always read in the Hebrew first. Wayakwan a kala kwaf, hashada, ashar, nata, sham, ahowa, mayad, bunya, kamawar, abaya, shakam, bama'a, kwasha yata. Verse 20. Wayatazab, sham, mazabak, wayakura, lawa, all, Allahaya, Yasha'ala. This is Genesis chapter 34, verse 1. With a taza'ah, dayana, bath, la'ah, ashar, yalada, laya aikwab, lara'awath, baba nawath, ha'arataza, verse 2. Wayora'ah, ata, shakam, bun, kamawar, haka, hakwaya, nashaya'ah, ha'arataza, wayakwak, ata, wayashakab, ata, wayaina, verse 3. With a debak, napashwa, but yana, naslaki, but dayana, ba, ya'aikwab, wa'ahab, hana'ar, wayadabar, al, lab, hana'ar. Verse 4. Wayamar, shakam, al, chamawar, abayawa, la'amar, kwak, laya, af, haya, lada, haza'af, la'asha. Verse 5. Wayaikwab, shamai, kaya, tama'a, af, dayana, bathwa, wabanyawa, hayawa, makwa nawa, bashada, waha yaikwab, ba'am. And that's it. Oh. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to read this in the English. We're in Genesis chapter 33, verse 19. And he bought a parcel of field where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of silver. And he erected there an altar, called it Elohi Israel. All right. So this is after Jacob left his brother Esau, and he came to a city called Shechem. And the ruler of that area was also, I think, named Shechem as well. His father's name was Shechem. Okay. All right, verse 34, Genesis chapter 34, verse 1. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bore unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. So Dinah, I think Dinah was one of the younger ones. I think she might have been a little bit older than Joseph. I think she came after Zebulun. Zebulun was the youngest son of Leah, and I think Dinah came after him. Okay, so Dinah had, why am I saying it? Dinah had how many children with Jacob? Where's my scholars over here? How many children she had with Jacob? I mean, not Dinah, Leah, I'm sorry. Anybody remember? Yes, it's 10. Good try. It was 7, including Dinah. So she had the first 4 boys, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah. Then she had the last 2 boys, Issachar and Zebulun. And then she had Dinah. So Leah had 7 children with Jacob. Okay? All right, so Dinah, the daughter of Leah, verse 1, which she bore, we're in Genesis 34, verse 1. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bore unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land, verse 2. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her. Verse 3, and his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel and spoke kindly unto the damsel. So Shechem saw Dinah, took her, slept with her, and it says he defiled her. Now, here's a couple things you want to remember. Remember, there's a couple things. One, the children of Jacob were not to be sleeping with a foreigner. okay, in any way. And so that's one of the ways she became, was defiling her. They didn't want to mix with any of them, remember, because they learned this from Abraham, their grandfather. Okay, I don't know if he wasn't alive at this time, but they understood, like Abraham had set that in motion. You're not to sleep with any of the people of the land. Okay, you're supposed to get one of your own. That's why he sent Isaac back, and then Rebekah sent Jacob back. They were not to mix with any of the seed of the land. Okay, and Shechem was over here sleeping with Dinah. Okay, verse 3. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spoke kindly unto the damsel. Verse 4. And Shechem spoke unto his father Hamor, saying, get me this damsel to wife. Okay, so he wanted her for wife. Now, he knew that he had to talk to the father. Okay, because he took something that didn't belong to him. Okay, so you knew he was trying to say, well, let me at least try to talk to the father now. Because now, I mean, what he did was unlawful, but now he's trying to make up for what he did. Okay, you're supposed to, talk to the father, but he didn't do that. Okay, verse 5. And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah, his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. Okay, so they're trying to come and make negotiations with Jacob about the situation with Dinah. The brothers don't know this yet, but Jacob was holding his peace. Okay, all right, so of course that was unlawful for what Shechem did, but he was trying to backtrack and say, well, at least let me go talk to father. Anciently, you couldn't just go sleep with a woman. Anciently, you usually had to go through her father. You and the father made a contract together, or sometimes it was the two fathers that made a contract or covenant. It's like, oh, here's your wife over here. The father's already discussed it, or the father and the man that wanted to marry would have a talk, and then you would have to pay some type of dowry. Okay, you'd have to, like Jacob had to work for both Leah and Rachel. He had to, work to receive that's the dowry. But Shechem did not do that, and that's why it was unlawful for what he did. Okay, but then he tried to backtrack. Okay, so we'll see what happens after that. Most of us already know the story. All right, so let's go ahead and pick it up. We're going to be now reading Genesis chapter 34, 6 through 12 in the Hebrew. Genesis chapter 34, verse 6. Where it says, Kamawar, Abaya, Shekam, Ol, Yaiquab, Ladabar, Afwa, verse 7. Wabunya, Yaiquab, Awa, Man, Ashada, Kashama'in, Wayatha Taza Abwa, Abwa. So like it. Wayathai Tazabwa, Anashium, Wayakar, Laham, Ma'ad, Kaya, Nabala, Aisha, Bayasha'ala, Lashakab, Af, Ba, Yaiquab, Wakan, La'a, Ya Aisha Wa, Ya Aisha. Verse 8. Wayadabar, Hamawar, Atham, La'amar, Shakam, Bunya, Kasha Kwa, Napashwa, Babathkum, Thanawa, Na'a, Ata, Lawa, La'asha. Verse 9. Waha Thakathnawa, Athnawa, Banathyakum, Thaknawa, Lanawa, Wa'af, Banathyanawa, Thakwakwa, Lakam, verse 10. Wa'afnawa, the Shabwa, Wa'arataza, Thahaya, Lapanyakam, Shabwa, what's a Karwa, Waha Akzawa, Ba, verse 11. Wayamar Shakam all Abaya, Wa all Akya, Ama Taza'a, Khan, Ba'ayanyakam, Wa Ashar, Marwa, Alya, Athan, verse 12. Ha'arab wa Alya, Ma'ad, Mahar, Wamathan, Thana, Ashar, Marwa, Oya, Wathanawa, Liyah, Av, and the Ar, Ashar, and that's it. All right, we're now going to be reading Genesis chapter 34, 6 through 12. I'm going to read that in the English. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. Okay, so Shechem's father went out to talk to Jacob. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were wroth, because they had wrought folly in Israel in line with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. Verse 8. So the brothers heard about this, they were angry. And there's actually two brothers that really going to put it to action. Okay, they weren't happy. I mean, it's got like 11 brothers. That's, you got to be careful who you deal with. She had 11 brothers. Benjamin, I think, was on. Maybe she might. Rachel might have been pregnant with Benjamin at this point. Okay, I don't exactly know the time frame, but 11 brothers is a lot. Verse 8. And Hamor communed with them, saying, the soul of my son Shechem belongeth for your daughter. I pray you give him to wife. Verse 9, and make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. Now we know, according to the law, you're not to make marriages with the other nations surrounding you. Okay, but Hamor is trying to, make peace, because, like I said, you got 11 brothers, and, they ready for action. Verse 10, and ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get your possessions therein. Verse 11. And Shechem said unto our father, and said unto our brethren. So this is Shechem now. Shechem's like, he's trying to talk to them. Let me find grace in your eyes, and what you shall say unto me I will give. So pretty much he's saying, well, name your price. Okay? Name your price so that I can have, Dinah, lawfully. What's your price? Verse 12. Ask me never so much dowry and gift. Like, what should I pay? And I will give you according as you shall say unto me. But give me the damsel to wife. He's like, listen, I'll pay whatever you need. Just let me have Dinah as a wife. Okay, so he's saying he's willing to pay the dowry. All right, that's it. All right, we're going to be reading Genesis 34. We're going to be reading 13 through 19 in the Hebrew. Genesis chapter 34. Wa Ya'inawa, Bunya, Ya'ikwa, Shechem, Wa'av, Kamawar, Abayah, Abayawa, Bamarama, Wa Yadabarwa, Ashar, Tama'a, Dayana, Achtham. Verse 14. Wa Yamarwa, Alayaham, La'ah, Nawakal, La'ishawath, Hadabar, Azah, Lathaf, Af, Akaf Nawa, La'ayash, Ashar, Lawab, Arala, Kaya, Karapa, Hawa'a, Lanawa. Verse 15. Ak, Baza'af, La'awaf, Lakam, Fahayawa, Come now, Kamanawa, Lahamala, so Lahamal, Lakam, Call, Zakar. Verse 16. Wathanwa, Af, Banathiyanawa, Lakam, Wa'af, Banathiyakam, Nakwak, Lanawa, Wayashabnawa, Afkam, Wahayanawa, La'ain, Akkad. Verse 17. Lawa, Thashamaiwa, Olyanawa, Lahamawal, Wala Kwaknawa, Af, Bathnawa, Wahalaknawa. Verse 18. Wayatabwa, Dabaryaham, Ba'ayanya, Kamawar, Wabayayanya, Shakam, Bun, Kamawar. Verse 19. Wala'achar, Hana'ar, La'eshawath, Hadabar, Kaya, Kapataza, Wabath, Ya'ikwa, Wahawa'ab, Nakabad, Makal, Bayath, Abayawa. And that's it. All right? All right, so, let's see. All right, let's read Genesis 34. We're reading verses 13 through 19 in the English. Genesis chapter 34, verse 13. And the sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor, his father, deceitfully, and said, because he had defiled Dinah their sister. Verse 14. And they said unto them, we cannot do this thing to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised. So they're saying, they're dealing with deceitfully because they're already plotting a type of revenge. They're like, we just can't give our sister away to somebody that's uncircumcised. Okay, and we know about circumcision. Now, circumcision was the physical sign of the what? Anybody remember? Somebody was going to say something. No, it's no problem. You know, it's always good to take a good guess. Anybody remember? Okay, circumcision was the physical sign of the covenant that the Most High made with Abraham. Okay, now, just because you're physically circumcised does not mean that you're an Israelite per se, because you had Israelites that were circumcised that weren't keeping the law. They thought their physical circumcision was going to give them a pass. The Most High wanted us to be circumcised in our hearts, and that's why when Yahushua comes back, the laws have to be written on our hearts and on our minds. So that and that will be a sign of the covenant that we agreed to the covenant because we're keeping the laws. The physical circumcision, though, was a sign that of the covenant, and I think and that was really a sign for your parents, not really for the child. It was really more for the parents. I think Jeremiah Hyman made a good breakdown of that a few nights ago. I believe that it was more of a physical sign for your parents. The child was born, didn't do nothing, but it's the parents. So. All right, so they're saying we can't give anybody that's not circumcised. Verse 14, and they unto them, we cannot do this thing to do our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. Verse 15, but in this will we consent unto you. So they're saying this is going to be your dowry that you pay for us. If you will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised. Okay, so every male has to be circumcised just like we are. That's saying that was the dowry, because remember, Shechem said, give me anything you want. Verse 16. Then we will give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters to us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. Verse 17. But if you will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then we will take our daughter, and we will be gone. And their words pleased Hamor, and Shechem, Hamor's son. And verse 19. Okay, so they're like, agreed. They agreed to this agreement. Okay, they agreed to have this dowry done. Verse 19, the young man deferred not to do the thing because he had delight in Jacob's daughter. He loved Jacob's Dinah that much. He said, listen, I'll do it. And he was more honorable than all of his father's house. So he was like, listen, I'm going to do this thing, so that I can have her. All right, so he agreed to it. All right. Now, it's funny because Jacob's sons weren't really going to be giving their daughters to, they said, well, you can have our daughters and we can have yours. That wasn't in the plan. Okay, because it said they dealt deceitfully with them. All right, so let's continue reading. Let's read Genesis 34, verses 20 through 26. Genesis chapter 34, verse 20 in the Hebrew. Wayaba'ah, come a war, Washakam, Bunwa, all, Sha'ar, Ya'iram, Wayadabarwa, all, Anashia, Ya'iram, La'amar, verse 21, Na'ashiam, Ha'alah, Shalomyam, Hum, Afnawa, Wayashabwa, Wa'aratazah, Wayasakarwa, Aftah, Ha'aratazah, Hana, Rakabath, Bath, Yadyam, Lapanyaham, Af, Banatham, Naquak, Lanawa, Lanashiam, Wa'af, Banath Yanawa, Nathan Laham, verse 22. Ak, Bazaav, Yaathwa, Lanawa, Ha'anashim, Shabbath, Afnawa, Lahayawaf, La'aim, Chad, Bahamawal, Lanawa, Kal, Zakar, Ka'ashar, Hum, Namolyam, verse 23. Makwa Nahum, Wakwa Na Yahum, Yanum, Wakal, Bahamathum, Halawa'a, Lanawa, Hum, Ak, Na'awatha, Lahum, Wayashabwa, Afnawa, verse 24. Wayashamaywa, all, Hakamawar, Wa'al, Shakam, Bunwa, Kal, Yataza Ayah, Sha'ar, Ayarwa, Wayamalwa, Kal, Zakar, Kal, Yataza Ayah, Sha'ar, Ayarwa, verse 25. Wayahaya, Bayawam, Shalayashya, Bahaya Watham, Ka'abayam, Wayakwakwa, Shunya, Bunya, Ya'ikwa, Shamaiwan, Waya, Akya, Dayana, Ayash, Harabwa, Waya Ba'awa, Al, Hayar, Batak. Let me see. Waya Haragwa, Kal, Zakar, verse 26. Wa'af, Kamawar, Wa'af, Shakam, Bunwa, Haragwa, Lapaya, Karab, Wayakwakwa, Af, Dayana, Mabayath, Shakam, Wayataza Awa. And that's it. All right, we're going to go ahead and read Genesis chapter 34, verse 20 in the English. Genesis chapter 4, verse 20. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city and communed with them, with the men of their city, saying, verse 21, These men are peaceable with us, therefore let them dwell in the land and trade therein, for the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters for our wives, and let us give them our wives. So they really made a covenant, and they went and convinced the men of their city. Verse 22, Only herein will the men consent unto us for to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised as they are circumcised. Well, you got to see Hamor and Shechem, of course, being rulers, they had to be very influential to convince all the males to be circumcised. Verse 23, Shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. You got to remember, too, people throughout history have wanted to benefit off of our people. This is no different. You got to think they're like, we could benefit off these guys. Okay, look, they got cattle, they're resourceful, they have talent. Let's agree to this covenant. We'll benefit from it. It's the same thing today with the other nations when it comes to us. Verse 24, And unto Hamor and to Shechem his son hearkened all that went out of the gate of the city, and every male was circumcised, and all that went out of the gate of the city. So they agreed, and all the males were circumcised. Verse 25, And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that the two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brother, took each man his sword, and came into the city boldly and slew all the males. So Simeon and Levi weren't playing. And this is why Jacob pretty much kind of called them cruel. So Simeon and Levi were pretty rough. I'm going to tell you why. Another reason why they would be rough, because you got to think the mindset of Simeon and Levi, which went into I'm sure their descendants. Levi, when Moses, and I'm sidetracking, but this is interesting. When Moses came down from the mountain, and the Israelites were, had the golden calf, Moses said, "Who's on the Lord's side?" And what tribe responded? Y'all should know that. What tribe? Wasn't Judah? It was actually Levi. Levi responded and came over to Moses, and you know what Moses told them? go in and slaughter, brother, sister, pretty much that, who was in rebellion. And the Levites did it. So you got to think of the mindset of those Levites. Well, they get it from their great-great-grandfather Levi. Levi wasn't no joke. Him and his brother Simeon. Now, Simeon also is interesting because Simeon also had to be pretty rough because when Joseph, y'all know the story of Joseph, when Joseph was in Egypt and they told Joseph to keep back one brother, that he would have to, I don't want to say hold hostage, but the other brothers would have to come back for. He held Simeon back. So you got to think of what type of person Simeon probably was. So Simeon and Levi, they and I believe Jacob in the scripture called them pretty cruel. All right, so you got to think about the mindset that they have. They're going to the city slaughtering men. Okay, so let me go back to verse 25. And it came to pass on the third day when they were sore, the two of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Don his brother, took each man his sword and came upon the city boldly and slew all the males. Verse 26. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the swords. They killed both of them. Okay, they just had a covenant with them a few days before. Then came and killed them. And took Dinah out of Shechem's house and went out. Because Dinah was already in the house. They got circumcised, so they pretty much agreed to the covenant, let Dinah go in and live with Shechem for a few days, and then came and slaughtered them, took them off guard. All right? All right, and that's it for that part. All right, let's go ahead and read Genesis 34, 27 through 31. We're going to go ahead and read that in the Hebrew first, and then we're going to go to Genesis chapter 35, 1 through 2. Genesis chapter 34, verse 27 in the Hebrew. Bunya, Yaikwa, Bawa, Al, Hakaloyim, Waya, Bazwa, Hayar, Ashar, Tamawa, Akawatham, verse 28. Af, Taza Anam, Wa'af, Bakwaram, Wa'af, Kamoriyaham, Wa'af, Ashar, Ba'ayar, Wa'af, Ashar, Bashada, Lakwakwa, verse 29. Wa'af, call, Kayalam, Wa'af, call, Tapum, Wa'af, Nashayaham, Shabwa, Waya Bazwa, Wa'af, call, Ashar, Babayath, verse 30. Wayamar, Yaikwab, all, Shemaiwan, Wa'al, Loya, Akartham, Af, Laha, Ba'ayashanya, Bayashab, Ha'arataza, Ba'kanaanya, Wabaparazia, Wa'anya, Mathya, Masapar, Wana Satwa, Alya, Waha Kawanya, Wafna Shamadathya, Anya, Wabayathya, verse 31. Wa Amarwa, Haka Zawana, Yaisha, Akawathnawa. Genesis chapter 35, verse 1 in the Hebrew. Wayamar Alahayim al Yaikwab Kwawam Allah Bayath al Washab Sham Waisha Sham Mazabak Laal Hanaraha Al Yaka Babarakka Mapanya Aishawa Akyaka. Verse 2. Wayamar Yaikwab al Bayathwa wa al call Ashar Aimwa Asarwa Af Alahaya Wana Hanakar, Ashar, Bathakam, Waha Taharwa, Waha Yapa, Yapaiwa, Shama Lafyakam, and that's it. All right, we're going to go ahead and read Genesis chapter 34. We're going to read 27 through 31. And then 1 through 2. Genesis chapter 34, verse 27. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city because they had defiled their sisters. So they came and took all the stuff. Verse 28. They took their sheep, their ox, their asses, that which was in the city, and that which was in the field. Verse 29. And all their wealth and all their little ones, and all their wives took the captive they took captive and spoiled even all that was in the house. Verse 30. And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. And I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, shall he deal with our sisters with a harlot? Yeah, they weren't playing when it came to Dinah. All right. Verse 35. And the power said, chapter 35, verse 1. And the power said unto Jacob, rise, go to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto the power that appeared unto thee, when thou fleddest from the face of Esau thy brother. Verse 2. Then Jacob said unto his household, and to all that were with him, put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments. All right, and that's it. All right, we're going to go ahead and read Genesis chapter 35, 3 through 9 in the Hebrew, and then we'll read it in the English. Genesis chapter 35, verse 3 in the Hebrew. Wana kwa wama, wana Allah, bayath al, wa aisha, sham, mazabak, la'al, ha'aina, afya, bayawam, tazarathya, haya, aimadya, Badarak, Ashar, Halakafya, verse 4. Wayathnawa, Al, Yaikwa, Av, Kol, Alahaya, Hanakar, Ashar, Yadam, Wa'a, Na Zamyam, Ashar, Zanyaham, Waya Taman, Atham, Yaikwa, Akaf, Allah, Ashar, Aim, Shakam, verse 5. Waya Sa'aiwa, Wayahaya, Kataf, Alahayam, Al, Ha'aryam, Ashar, Sabayabath Yaham, Wala'ah, Radakwa, Akar, Bunya, Yaikwa, verse 6. Wayaba'a, Yaikwa, Lawazah, Ashab, Arataza, Kana'ain, Hawa'ah, Bayath, Al, Hawa'ah, Wakal, Ha'aim, Mashar, Aimwa. Oh, I just lost my spot. Wait a minute. 1 second. Oh, okay. Verse 7. Wayabun, Sham, Mazabak, Wayakwara, Lamakwawam, Al, Bayath, Al, Kaya, Sham, Nagalwa, Alyawa, Alahayam, Babarakwa, Mapunya, Akyawa. Verse 8. Math, the Barath, Waya Nakwaf, Rabakwa, Kwabar, Kaf, Labayath, Al, Kaf, Ha'alwan, Wayakura, Shamwa, Alwan, Bakawaf. Verse 9. Wayara'a, Alahayam, Al, Yaikwab, Iwad, Baba'ah, Mapadan, Aram, Wayabarak, Athwa. And that's it. All right. Let's go ahead and we're going to read this in the English. Would y'all mind listening out for the door? I know somebody's pulling up, but I just want to listen out to the door. All right. Let's see. Genesis chapter 35, I'm reading in verse 3. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto the power, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me the way which I went. Verse 4. And they gave unto Jacob all the strange gods which were in their hand, and all the earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. So when they when they went into that city, they took all their gods too. Okay, he said, y'all got to put that away. Okay, so Jacob knew, the penalty of having strange gods within the camp. Okay, when his son spoiled the city, they took the gods with them. Okay, verse 5, and they journeyed, and the terror of the power was upon the cities that were round about, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. Okay, they were the cities around were pretty much scared of the sons of Jacob. Verse 6. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is Bethel, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar and called the place El Bethel, because their power appeared unto him when he had fled from the face of his brother. Verse 8. But Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Bethel under an oak. And the name of it was called Alon Bakoth. Verse 9. And the power appeared unto Jacob again when he had came out of Padanaram and blessed him. And that's it. You know, I gotta make this statement. Now, this is something that you need to talk to the Christian church on your passing. We all have to deal with Christians throughout our day. The Most High, here, you notice it doesn't seem like he talks to Jacob day to day. Like the Christians will make the Most High like a common God. So let me explain what the nations with the common God. You just, you went, you sought the oracle. The common God would always answer, just be right there, like he was just some common, like he's just a joke, right? Like just a neighbor. Hi, neighbor. And the Christian church treats the Most High like that, like he's just a neighbor. Hi, neighbor. How's it going? But he didn't even talk to Jacob every day. It says he appeared to Jacob, so that means it's something that's not common. Okay, so if he's not, talking to Jacob every day, day to day, like that's his neighbor, where does that leave other people? You got to think, because the Christians, I don't know if y'all, but some Christians, it's like, God is talking to them every minute, every second. I don't know, and it makes the Most High just so common, like he's, Mark next door. Hi, Mark. Hi, Bill. It's just so common, But right here, it shows that, when it's talking about the Most High appeared, it's in context, it's showing you it's not an everyday thing. It's not because he's not a common God. But the Christian church will make God very common, like he's Bill next door. So just think about that. You can use this as an example when you're talking to the Christian that tells you that God is talking to them. God talked to them at breakfast, lunch, and dinner today. Right? Exactly. The personal God, just like their personal genie. And that comes right out of mysticism. You rub the lamp and give me 3 wishes. Okay, and a good point too, sister. Personal. It's so just think about that. All right. All right. We're going to read the last part here. We're in Genesis 35, and we're going to be reading 10 through 16. We're going to read it in the Hebrew first. Genesis chapter 35, verse. Let me see if that's sister. Oh, that's not the sister next door. I wonder if that sister is locked out. Might have to go down. Is she locked out? Downstairs. All right. Give me 1 second. I think I got to let that sister in downstairs. Give me 1 second. All right. All right, we're on Genesis 35. The water for everybody's patience. We're on Genesis 35. We're going to be reading 10 through 16 in the Hebrew. Okay, Genesis 35, verse 10. Wayamar, Lawa, Alahayim, Shamka, Yaikwa, La'a, Yara'ah, Yakora'ah, Shamka, Iwad, Yaikwa, Kaya, Yasha'ala, Yahaya, Shamka, Wayakorah, Af, Shamwa, Yasha'ala, verse 11. Wayamar, Lawa, Alahayim, Anya, Al, Shadaya, or Shadia, Slakin, Para, Waha, Waraba, Goya, Waikwa, Goyam, Yahaya, Mamka, Wamalakiam, Makola Taza Yaka, right, Taza Awa, verse 12. Wa'ah Ha'arataza Ashar, Nathathia, La Abaharam, La Abaraham, Waya Yataza Ka, Laka, Athanna, Waya Zaraika, Akaryaka, Athan, Ha'arataza. Verse 13, Waya Al, Ma'al Alahayim, Bama Kwawam, Ashar, Dabar, Athwa. Verse 14, Wayatazab, Yaikwa, Matazabah, Bama Kwawam, Ashar, Dabar, Athwa, Matazabath, Abun, Wayasad, Alya, Nasak, Wayatazak, Wayatazak, Alya, Shaman. Verse 15, Wayakorah, Yaikwa, Af, Sham, Hama Kwawam, Ashar, Dabar, Athwa, Sham, Alahayim, Bayath, all. Verse 16. Wayasaiwa, Mabayath, all. Wa Yahaya, Awad, Kabarath, Ha'arataza, Laba Wa'ah, Aparatha, with a lad, Rakal, with a quash, Baladatha, and that's it. All right, let's go ahead and read. We are in, let's go ahead and read Genesis chapter 35, 10 through 16. We're going to read that in the English. Genesis 35, verse 10. And the power said unto him, Thy name is Jacob, thy name shall not be called any more Jacob. Anybody remember what Jacob means? If I remember, go ahead. No, that's Judah. That's Jehoiada, okay? Well, Jehoiada means like praise, but it's like, you know, but go ahead. It's a supplanter. Yeah, that's what Jacob means, all right? You shall no longer be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name, and he called his name Israel. Verse 11. And the power said unto him, I am the Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. What does that mean, a nation and a company of nations? What does that mean? Can anybody explain that? What does that mean? It said a nation and a company. We obviously know the kings came from Israel, but what does that mean, a nation and a company of nations? What does that mean? Anybody want to give a shot at it? Go ahead, sis. Okay, you're thinking. All right. Anybody else? No, you did you want to continue? I didn't. Were you?
No, because it do say nation. Maybe that was tribe.
No, you're thinking. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish it. Go ahead. You're correct. Go ahead. Okay, you were pretty much. I mean, because it's a nation of Israel, and you got to think. But then those tribes were like a nations as well, because you got to think how big those tribes became. You know, like Ephraim. You got to think Ephraim and Manasseh were huge. So you got to think about that. A nation and a company of nations. Okay? And then, you got to think of kings that came out of, the kings that came from Judah. All right? Verse 12, and the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. Verse 13, and the power went up from him in the place where he talked with him. Verse 14, and Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of a stone, and he poured a drink offering thereupon, and he poured oil thereon. Verse 15, and Jacob called the name of the place where the power spoke with him Bethel. Verse 16, and they journeyed from Bethel, and there was but a little way to come to Ephrath. And Rachel traveled, and she had hard labor. So you know this time, Rachel was in labor with which child? It was Benjamin. Does anybody know what Benjamin means? What does Benjamin mean? Okay, what is it? Bunyamin in Hebrew. That should give anybody the clue. Bunyamin. Anybody know? Okay, Benjamin means like what? Son of the right, or son of the right hand. Okay, because yum means right, and then bun means son, like son of the right. Okay, and probably in context like son of the right hand. That's what Benjamin means. All right. Okay, and that is it. Excellent. All right, we're going to close out today. I like giving pop quizzes because I know everybody studies. And then we got our Sister Latoya that came back in today. Sister Latoya always studies. And I know she was excited for our pop quiz. Can anybody name me the 12 tribes of Israel in birth order? Come on, anybody give me a shot. I'm going to quiz you every week. You might want to take a shot at that. Birth order. Go ahead. I know you do, Sister Colley. Go ahead. All right, nurse, first four. Come on.
I think the first four is
Reuben. There's somebody before Levi. Reuben, Simeon. Go ahead. Levi. Judah. That's the first four. Okay, the next two. And they were born from who? Who was their mother? Leah was their mother. Okay, the next two. Who was the next two? No. No, they're not the next two that was born. Okay, the next two was born from Bilhah or Bila. I think I'm saying her name right. And that would have been Dan and... Who goes with Dan? I always think of them in pairs. Dan and... Anybody know? Dan and Naphtali. Okay. And then the next two was born from Zilpah. And their names were what? All right, they were from Gad and Asher. They were Gad and Asher. And then Leah's last two were? Last two sons, I mean. No, that wasn't Leah's last two. Anybody remember? Okay, right. Should have been Issachar and Zebulun. Okay, and then Rachel had the last two, which was Rachel's children, the two youngest. Should be Joseph and Benjamin. All right, and that's how you get the 12. We got the 12 tribes from Joseph and Benjamin. Those were the last two of Rachel. All right, we'll get another quiz next week. We'll see, make sure that people are, make sure they're studying. All right. Well, just me up here, it's just myself, nobody else. Mariam. Right. Oh, Lord. Oh, yeah, I'm doing it right. I couldn't remember my right from my left. Please forgive me. I'm tired. I always got to look at the head. Okay, Salaki on that. La Yasha Allah. All right, this is for everybody. Imanium. Slag, it says, do you have a head cover? I think we might have one out, some out there. Oh, there's no. All right, weapon Aquadam means rise and face the east. All right, we're going to read the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew, then in the English. The Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malak Wafka, Thaba'ah, Ritazayaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'aratiza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamayim, Nathan Lanawa, Lakam, Call, Yawam, Wasalak Nawa, Kabawak Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawak Nawa, Wala'ah, W'ayin Nawa, Banasaya 1, Abal, Washaya Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwaf, Waha'ala, Wa'athapa'arath, La'awalamyam, Aman. And in the English, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. From thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Saw, which means to turn. This concludes the service. Sister, I'm going to give you one courtesy salute. Amadi Shabbat, Amadi Barak, Yahweh Shamar Alatham Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Yad Yamata, class dismissed.